Stop scrolling. Do not let your thumb move one more inch because what just crossed your screen was never meant to be scrolled past. This did not reach you by chance, and no feed decided it. It was placed directly in front of your eyes tonight by the hand of God. At the exact hour, on the exact night, you were finally ready to hear it. Chosen one, there is a gift sealed inside you. It has been asleep your entire life, kept quiet by something that never wanted you to find it. And for almost 2,000 years it has waited in silence for one single carrier. Not a crowd, not a generation. One person, in one appointed season. Everything, every strange night you woke for no reason, every moment you felt built for something the world could not name, has been pointing to the truth God is confirming over you right now. You are that person. The wait is ending tonight. And before this message closes, the seal that held your gift for 2 millennia is going to be broken open in front of you. Now listen closely, because I need you to feel how specific this is. You have known for a long time that you are not like the people around you. You have tried to explain it away. You told yourself you were simply tired or behind, or that the spark you had as a child was something everyone loses. But there is a part of you that never accepted that explanation. A quiet, stubborn part that kept whispering that something was placed in you on purpose, and that it was still there, waiting. That part of you was right. And what most messages will never tell you is why the gift went silent in the first place. That is the door we are walking through together tonight. Here is the first thing I need you to understand. What you have spent years calling your decline was never a decline at all. When you were a child, your mind moved in a way that felt effortless. You learned quickly. You saw connections nobody taught you. You created things and lost track of time. And then, somewhere along the way, that ease seemed to fade, and you assumed the fading was the truth about you. It was not the truth. The gift did not leave. It was covered. There is a difference between a light that has gone out and a light that has been placed under a cover. And everything about the way you feel tells me yours was covered, not extinguished. Chosen one, I want you to notice something happening in your body as you hear this. There may be a warmth rising in your chest, or a tightness in your throat, or a stillness that came over you the moment I said the gift was still there. That response is not random. That is recognition. That is the part of you that has always known, finally hearing itself spoken out loud by another voice. If you feel that right now, I want you to hold on to it. That feeling is the first proof that this message found the right person. And if you want to mark this moment, so you remember the exact night the covering began to lift, type the words, "I am still carrying it" in the comments, not for me, but as a private line drawn in your own life tonight. So let me tell you what actually happened to the gift, because this is where most people get it wrong, and getting it wrong is exactly what keeps them asleep. They believe that if the gift were real, they would still feel it at full strength. They believe the fading is evidence that they were never chosen, and that belief is the most effective covering ever placed over a human being. Think about what a covering does. It does not destroy what is underneath. It hides it, quiets it, makes it easy to forget. And the most dangerous covering of all is the one that convinces you there was never anything underneath to begin with. That is the lie you have been living against. Tonight we take the covering off, layer by layer, until you feel the gift breathing again. The people of the ancient world understood something we have almost entirely forgotten. They knew that certain gifts do not belong to a single lifetime. They travel, they wait, they pass through long centuries of silence until a particular soul, born in a particular season, is finally ready to carry them again. When the sacred texts speak of gifts poured out on a chosen few, they are not speaking in metaphor. They are describing a real transfer. from a silent line into a living person. For a very long time, this particular gift had no carrier. The line went quiet, and a quiet line is not a dead one. It is a seed buried deep, holding its life, waiting for the ground to be ready. You are the ground becoming ready. That is what 2,000 years of silence was leading toward. So what covered it? That is the question that changes everything. And I am not going to give you a vague spiritual answer, because you have had enough of those. I am going to name the mechanism directly, the way it actually works inside a human life. When you were young, the two halves of your inner world spoke to each other freely. The part of you that imagined and the part of you that reasoned were not at war. They moved together, and that togetherness is what made you feel limitless. You did not have to try to be brilliant. You simply were, because nothing inside you was divided against itself. Then life did what life does. It taught you to choose sides. It rewarded one half of you and shamed the other. It told you to be practical and stop dreaming, or it told you to be spiritual and stop thinking. And slowly, without a single dramatic moment, the two halves stopped speaking. The bridge between them fell into disuse. And when that bridge goes quiet, the gift that lived on it goes quiet too. I want to give this a name, because naming it takes away its power to hide. What happened to you was not decline. It was a slow disconnection between the two halves of your own mind. From here on, when I speak of it, I am going to call it the silenced bridge. That is the real covering over your gift. Not sin, not failure, not some cosmic verdict against you. A bridge inside you that simply stopped carrying traffic. And here is the part that should make your heart rise. A bridge that has fallen into disuse has not been destroyed. It is still standing. It is still yours. It only needs to be crossed again. The gift is not gone. It is waiting on the far side of a bridge you were taught to abandon. Now feel the relief of that for a moment, because you have been carrying a heavy verdict for years. You thought the problem was you. You thought you had wasted the gift, or proven unworthy of it, or missed your window. None of that is true. The problem was never your worth. The problem was a broken connection, and broken connections can be restored. That is the difference between shame and hope. Shame says the gift left because of who you are. Hope says the gift is right here, and the only thing between you and it is a bridge you can learn to cross again. Tonight you are on the side of hope, whether or not you have felt hope in a long time. Let me show you how this played out in someone from the ancient story, because the pattern is old and it will help you see yourself. Think of Joseph, the dreamer. As a boy, he saw visions with a clarity that frightened the people around him. His gift was undeniable. And what happened? He was thrown into a pit, sold, forgotten, imprisoned. For years, everything about his life said the gift had been a cruel joke. But the gift was not gone during those years. It was covered. It was waiting under the weight of a silenced season. And when the appointed moment came, the same gift that got him thrown into a pit lifted him to stand before kings. The silence was never the end of the story. It was the long middle of it. You have been living the long middle. Tonight you are being told the middle is closing. If that lands in you, if you recognize yourself in the one whose gift went underground for a season, then this is the moment to claim it before we go deeper. Not with noise, with a single quiet declaration. Type "the bridge" still stands in the comments as your way of agreeing out loud that what was silenced in you was never destroyed. Let that be the first stone you lay on the crossing back. Now I have to tell you about the thing that does not want you to cross, because the silenced bridge did not fall into disuse entirely by accident, and pretending otherwise would leave you unprotected. There is a force, and you have felt it, that grows uneasy whenever you get close to reconnecting the two halves of yourself. You know exactly what I mean. Every time you have come near a breakthrough, something rose up to pull you back. A sudden wave of tiredness the moment you sat down to create. A flood of doubt, right as the vision became clear. An old memory of failure surfacing at the exact instant you dared to believe. That timing is not coincidence. That is interference, and it has a pattern. Here is the pattern, so you can recognize it and stop obeying it. The interference never attacks you when you are far from your gift. It only rises when you are close. When you are distracted, scattered, half asleep to your own calling, it leaves you completely alone. But the moment you turn toward the bridge, the moment you feel the two halves of your mind reaching for each other again, that is when the resistance shows up, wearing the face of exhaustion, distraction, or doubt. Learn this, and you will never be fooled again. Resistance that rises only when you move toward your gift is not proof that the gift is false. It is proof that the gift is real and that something knows it. You have been reading the alarm backward your whole life. The very thing you took as a stop sign was actually a confirmation that you were finally getting warm. And this is why you, specifically, matter so much right now. For 2,000 years, the interference had an easy job because there was no carrier drawing close to the bridge. It could rest, but a carrier has appeared, you. And the closer you come to crossing, the more the old silence has to fight to keep its hold. That struggle you have felt intensifying in recent seasons is not you falling apart. It is the last resistance of a covering that senses it is about to be removed. Chosen one, you are not breaking down, you are breaking through, and the pressure you feel is simply the size of what is trying to come out of you. A small gift meets small resistance. The resistance around you has been enormous, and now you know what that tells you about the size of what you carry. Let me name something you live with, so specifically that you will wonder how I could know. You can scroll a screen for 3 hours without effort, but the moment you sit down to do the one thing that actually matters to you, a heaviness falls over you and your eyes want to close. You can hold entire worlds in your imagination at midnight, but you cannot hold a single focused thought when the focused thought could change your life. You are not lazy. You have watched yourself work tirelessly on things that did not matter while freezing on the thing that did. That exact pattern is not a character flaw. It is the signature of a silenced bridge. When the two halves of your mind are disconnected, the part that dreams and the part that acts cannot cooperate. So your energy floods toward whatever asks nothing of both halves at once and drains away the instant your true work asks them to move together. The very shape of your struggle is a map of where the disconnection lives. Sit with the relief of that, because you have blamed yourself for this for years. You have called yourself undisciplined, unmotivated, even broken, and none of those verdicts were ever true. A disconnected bridge cannot carry the weight of your calling, no matter how hard you push. The problem was never your will, it was the wiring, and the wiring can be rejoined. Notice what this means about every failed attempt you have ever made. Each time you tried to force yourself across the gap by sheer discipline and collapsed, you were not failing. You were proving the bridge was down. You were gathering evidence for exactly the truth we are uncovering tonight. Nothing you went through was wasted. It was all pointing here. And here is the deeper mercy hidden inside that pattern. If your struggle were random, there would be no way to fix it. But it is not random. It is precise. It always shows up in the same place, at the same threshold, the moment both halves of you are asked to move as one. A precise problem has a precise solution. The consistency of your struggle is not a sentence against you. It is the very thing that makes restoration possible, because a problem this predictable can be met with something equally exact. So do not despise the pattern anymore. Thank it. It has been faithfully showing you the location of the bridge your whole life, waiting for the night you would finally read it correctly instead of using it to condemn yourself. Tonight you read it correctly, and everything changes from a single honest reading. So let me take you across the bridge for a moment before we talk about how to make the crossing permanent. I want you to live in the future for a few breaths, the future that is real and available to you, so your body remembers what it is walking toward. Picture a morning not far from now, when you wake before the alarm and there is no weight sitting on your chest. Your mind is quiet, but it is a full quiet, not an empty one. Ideas arrive without strain. The thing you have struggled to understand for years suddenly makes sense in a single clean thought, and you almost laugh at how simple it was all along. That is not fantasy. That is what a reconnected mind feels like on an ordinary day. Now picture the people around you beginning to notice. They cannot name what changed, but they feel it. You speak, and they lean in. You make a decision, and it lands right. The scattered, apologetic version of you that was always running behind is gone, and in its place is someone steady, someone lit from the inside. Your family feels it. Your work feels it. The room feels it when you walk in. This is the version of you that has already crossed the bridge, and tonight you are being handed the map back to him, back to her. But I have to be honest with you, because this message is not here to flatter you. Seeing the future is not the same as living in it. You have seen glimpses of this version of yourself before. You have felt the bridge under your feet in rare moments, and then lost it again by morning. So the real question, the one that matters more than any inspiration, is this. Why does knowing all of this still not produce lasting movement? Why does the insight stay as insight and refuse to become a permanent change? Hold that question. Do not answer it yet, because the answer is not where you have been looking for it. It is not in trying harder, and it is not in more belief. The CTD, it is somewhere in the physical reality of how your mind is built, a place almost no one in a spiritual room has ever been told to look. We are about to go there. First, understand why the glimpses never lasted. Every time you reconnected the two halves of your mind on your own, you did it through effort, a powerful prayer, a retreat, a moment of grief or joy so large it forced the bridge open for a night. And because it was held open by effort, the moment the effort stopped, the bridge fell quiet again. You were bailing water out of a boat with your hands. It works while you are doing it, and it fails the moment you rest. This is the trap that has kept even the most sincere seekers going in circles for their entire lives. They assume that if the reconnection does not last, they must not have wanted it enough. So they try harder, and the harder they try, the more the effort itself becomes the thing that exhausts them. You cannot force a bridge to stay open by sheer will. Something has to hold it open for you underneath your effort, without demanding that you strain. And here is the reframe that sets you free. The reason you have failed to make this permanent is not a failure of faith. It is a failure of method. You have been given the destination for years. Everyone tells you where to go, but no one has handed you the actual mechanism that holds the two halves of the mind in sync without exhausting willpower. You have been told to cross the bridge while no one repaired the bridge. Tonight, that changes. If you have ever felt like a spiritual failure because the peace never lasted, I want you to release that verdict right now. You were not failing. You were using the wrong tool for a physical problem. Picture that old verdict as a stone you have carried in your hands for years, and simply open your fingers and let it fall to the ground. You do not need it where you are going. If you just felt something set down inside you, mark it. Type, "I release the verdict" in the comments, as the sound of you putting down a weight you were never meant to carry. Some of you have carried that particular stone for decades. Let tonight be the night your hands are finally empty enough to receive. Now I am going to tell you the heaviest and most important truth of this entire message, the one I have been walking you toward from the first word. Everything I have described, the two halves of your mind, the silenced bridge, the gift waiting on the far side, is not only a spiritual picture, it is a physical reality inside your skull, and it has been studied, measured, and proven in a way that will change how you understand your own life. The reason your childhood mind felt limitless is that in early life, the two hemispheres of the human brain fire in synchrony. They talk to each other constantly, and that synchronized whole brain state is where genius, intuition, and effortless creativity actually live. It is not a personality, it is a physical condition of the brain, and it is the default state you were born in. Here is what almost no one has told you. 98% of young children test at the level of creative genius. Less than 1 in 1,000 adults still measure there. That is not because the adults stopped trying. It is because modern life gradually pulls the two hemispheres out of sync until the bridge between them goes quiet and the synchronized state that felt like magic becomes rare. What you have been mourning as your lost gift is a measurable, physical loss of whole brain synchronization, and measurable losses can be measurably restored. Do you understand what this means? Your gift is not a mystery that might come back if you are good enough. It is a physical state your brain already knows how to enter because it lived there for years. The bridge is not just standing. It has a known location, and it can be reopened on purpose. The ancients called it a sacred gift. The laboratory calls it whole brain activation. They are describing the same bridge from two different doors. There is one more thing you need to understand before we go further, because it will protect you in the weeks ahead. The reconnection you are beginning tonight is not going to announce itself with fireworks. That is the very reason so many people abandon it right before it takes hold. They expect the bridge to reopen in a single blinding moment, and when it comes instead as a quiet, steady warming, they assume nothing is happening and they walk away. So hear me clearly. The return of your gift will feel almost ordinary at first. A thought that comes a little easier. A morning that feels a little lighter. A decision you make without the usual agony. These small signs are not nothing. They are the bridge carrying its first traffic in years. The people who cross all the way over are simply the ones who did not despise the small beginnings. They stayed faithful to the quiet, and the quiet grew into everything they had hoped for. Think of how a seed returns after a long winter. It does not erupt from the ground fully grown. It sends up one thin green thread that a careless eye would miss. And that thread, protected and given time, becomes the whole harvest. Your first days back across the bridge are that thin green thread. Do not measure them against the size of the harvest. Measure them against the winter you are leaving, and you will see that everything has already begun to move. The reason I am telling you this now, before you feel any of it, is so that the enemy of your gift cannot use the quiet against you. When the interference whispers that nothing is changing, you will already know the truth. Small is not nothing. Quiet is not absent. The thread is not the failure of the harvest. It is the harvest, arriving the only way a real harvest ever does, one faithful morning at a time. Let me say all of this in the plainest possible language, with no imagery, because you deserve to hold it clearly before we go one step further. Here is the why. You feel dimmer than you once did because the two halves of your brain have drifted out of sync, and the synchronized state is where your natural brilliance lives. Here is the what. That synchronized state is a physical condition that can be restored, not a personality you lost. And here is the who. You are not a failed dreamer. You are a person whose gift is intact and simply disconnected, standing closer to reactivate than you have ever been. That is the whole truth in 3 sentences. Every mystery of your life bends around it. The gift, the silence, the resistance, the glimpses that never lasted, all of it makes sense. The moment you understand that the bridge is physical and the reconnection is possible. So the only question left is the one that actually matters now. You know what has been blocking you. You know the block is real and physical and reversible. The clarity you just received is true, but clarity alone has never once been movement. Now that you can see the bridge, how do you actually walk back across it without spending the rest of your life bailing water by hand? This is the part I have been waiting to tell you, and I want to tell it carefully because it matters. A team of researchers gave their years to exactly this question, and the door they walked through was opened, of all places, by a discovery that won the Nobel Prize. In 1981, a scientist named Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize for his research on the two hemispheres of the brain. He proved something that most people sitting in spiritual communities have never been told. The two halves of the mind were designed to work in synchronization, and when that synchronization is present, the brain operates at a level that, individually, neither half can reach. He gave the laboratory proof of the very bridge the ancients could only describe. Now, let me tell you about two people, before I tell you anything else, because their stories matter more than any explanation. A woman from California described what her life felt like before she found what I am about to describe. She had tried everything: prayer, journaling, meditation, every practice her community offered. And she kept arriving at the same wall. She believed the words, but she could not feel the reality behind them, not in her body, not in the texture of her days. After 10 days, she said something cleared. A channel that had been blocked was suddenly open, not because she tried harder, because the receiver had finally been repaired. A man from Texas described something similar, someone who had spent years holding everyone else together while his own inner life went thin and distant. He said prayer had started to feel like talking into a wall. The signal was right, but the receiver was off. 2 weeks later, he woke up and described his mind as running on everything it was supposed to run on. The fog that had been so constant, he no longer even registered it as fog, was simply gone. That is because of what the team I am about to describe discovered. A group of neuroscientists led by Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York, spent years doing something remarkable. They took over an hour of clinical neural sync technology, the kind of whole brain activation protocol used in specialized medical settings, and through an intensive process of compression and refinement, they turned it into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. 8 minutes a day. Headphones, eyes closed. That is the entire physical requirement. They call it the genius switch. It is not a brainwave product. It is not a meditation app. It is not a sound designed to put you in a mood. It is a targeted auditory sequence engineered directly from the Nobel Prize research of Dr. Sperry to reconnect the two hemispheres and restore the whole brain synchronization that was your default state as a child. It reopens the silenced bridge from the physical side while you simply rest and listen. If you have tried other audio before and found it hollow, Dr. Barone addresses that directly. Most of those products target only a fraction of the picture. What he and his team built targets hemisphere synchronization at the whole brain level through a multi-layer protocol refined over years of clinical work. That is a different mechanism, and it produces a different category of result. It does not ask you to force the bridge open by will. It holds it open underneath you. And now, hear the part that is meant specifically for you. The genius switch is not for everyone. It is for the person who already senses there is something large asleep inside them. It is for the carrier. Someone who has never felt the gift would call this noise and scroll on. And that is exactly right, because it was never sent to them. It was sent to you. The recognition you felt at the start of this message is the same recognition that tells you this tool belongs in your hands. Let me tell you what it costs, because I want you to see the whole picture honestly. Colleagues who saw the underlying protocol called it worth $500, and given what it restores, that is not an exaggeration. It was then offered at $49, already a fraction of its worth. But on the page where this message points, there is an additional reduction, and it is available today at $39. Not because it is worth less, because the people behind it wanted the carrier who needed it not to be turned away by a wall of cost. And with it, at that price, come 4 things freely added: a guided visualization from a top-rated creator to help you picture your life unfolding across money, love, health, and happiness. A simple guide to the everyday foods that quietly cloud the mind. A manifestation classic over 100 years old, the root of most modern teaching on drawing abundance. And a clean infographic of the 5 habits that shape an intended future, made to be printed and kept where you will see it. All of it included. It also carries an ironclad money-back guarantee with no limit on how many times you have listened. If you walk the bridge for weeks and feel nothing move, you are covered completely. That is how confident the people behind it are that the receiver actually repairs. You risk nothing but the silence you already know too well. I will only say this once, gently, because it is true. The $39 door is not promised to stay open. There is already word that the price will rise, and once it does, this exact moment does not return in the same form. I am not saying that to rush you. I am saying it because clarity that is not acted on tends to fade back into the fog by morning, and you have watched that happen to yourself too many times already. And be careful of the counterfeits, because they will find you now that you are awake. The moment you begin to seek the bridge, you will be offered 100 cheap imitations, free tracks and quick fixes that target a fraction and leave the real synchronization untouched. They are the interference, wearing a helpful face. The real thing is specific, it is clinical, and it is found only through the link that this message points to, in the description and in the pinned comment beneath it. So if your spirit resonates, and only if it resonates, the way to the tool I have described is waiting in the description and in the pinned comment below. Go quietly, you do not need to announce it. You only need to walk through the door while it is still open, while the clarity is still warm in you. Now let the matter of the tool rest, because I did not bring you all this way to sell you anything. I brought you here to wake something up, and whether or not you ever walk through that particular door, the gift inside you is real, and the bridge inside you is still standing. So let us turn back to you, and to the crossing itself. You have the map now. You know the gift is intact. You know the bridge is physical and reopenable. You know the resistance you feel is confirmation, not condemnation. What remains is to take the first step across tonight, in your own body, so that this does not stay as one more beautiful idea you forget by morning. So I want you to do something with me now, slowly. Wherever you are, let your shoulders drop. Let the phone rest a little lower in your hand. Take one breath that is deeper than the last few you have taken, and let it out without hurrying. We are going to walk the first few feet of the bridge together right now. Picture, in the center of your head, 2 shores separated by a narrow, dark water. On one shore stands the part of you that dreams, that imagines, that feels. On the other stands the part of you that reasons, that plans, that builds. For a long time, these two have stood with their backs to each other, refusing to speak. Tonight, see them turn, slowly. See them face the water between them. Now see a thin line of light appear over that water, from one shore to the other. That is the bridge. It has always been there. It was only unlit, and as you breathe, see the light along it grow steadier, until the 2 shores are joined by a living thread of warmth, and the dreamer and the builder in you look across at each other for the first time in years. Feel what happens in your body as they reconnect. There may be a loosening behind your eyes, a warmth moving down through your chest, a quiet that is not empty but full. That sensation is not imagination. That is the felt beginning of synchronization. You are not pretending. You are practicing the exact state your gift lives in, and every time you return to it, the bridge holds a little longer on its own. Stay there for one more breath, and as you do, say inside yourself, "The bridge is open, and I am allowed to cross it." Not once. Let it repeat with your breathing, until it stops being a sentence and becomes a fact your body agrees with. This is yours. No one can take the bridge from you, because it was built into you before you were born, and it was confirmed over you tonight. If you are feeling this, if the warmth is real, and the two shores in you have turned to face each other, then this is your moment to claim it out loud. Type "The crossing has begun" in the comments, not as a slogan, but as the truest thing you can say tonight. You are not asking permission anymore. You are announcing that the covering is coming off and the carrier is finally awake. And understand what your voice does here. When you speak it, even in a comment, you make it real, in a way that thought alone never manages. The reason the ancients declared their gifts out loud was not superstition. It was because declaration is how the inner shift becomes an outer commitment. So, do not let this pass as a private feeling that fades. Mark it, so that on the hard mornings you can look back and know the exact night the bridge lit up again. Before this message ends, I am going to speak something over your life that I want you to carry into tomorrow. But first, I need you to understand why you, of all people, were the one this reached. Because it was not random, and the reason is going to steady you on the days when the old fog tries to return. For almost 2,000 years, this gift waited without a carrier. Do you know what that silence was for? It was not punishment, it was preparation. The gift did not wait because no one wanted it. It waited because it required a very particular kind of soul to hold it. A soul that had been broken enough to be humble and had survived enough to be strong. A soul that had walked through the long middle of the story without letting go of the quiet whisper that it was made for more. That is you. The very seasons you resented, the delays, the disappointments, the long stretches where nothing seemed to move, were not wasted years. They were the shaping of a carrier. A gift this old could not be handed to someone untested, because it would break them. So it waited for someone who had already been through the fire and come out still believing. It waited for the person you became without even realizing you were becoming them. Do you see how completely the story reverses now? Everything you thought disqualified you was the exact thing preparing you. The wound was the qualification, the weight was the making. You are not behind. You are precisely on time, arriving as the person this gift always required. So here is where I ask something of you that is not for you, but for another. Somewhere out there, right now, is a person who carries this same gift and has no idea. Someone who has spent years believing their dimness was the truth about them. Someone drowning in the exact fog you are climbing out of tonight. You know their face. You have seen the tiredness behind their eyes, the way they have stopped expecting much of themselves. This message could be the thing that reaches them the way it reached you. If someone came to mind as I spoke, do not let the thought pass. Send this to them, not as content, but as a hand extended into the dark. You may be the only person who will ever tell them their bridge is still standing. That is what carriers do. They do not hoard the light. They pass it to the next silent line waiting to be reopened. And if this message has stirred something real in you tonight, you can gently press the like, not for me, but so that it travels further into the feeds of the ones who need it and do not yet know they are chosen. One quiet tap can carry this to a soul on the edge of giving up. Let your agreement help it find them. Now become still because the moment for the blessing has come, and I want you fully here for it. Let everything else fall away. There is only this voice, and the gift awake inside you, and the bridge burning quietly across the water in the center of you. I am grateful, standing here at the close of this, that of all the souls this could have found, it found you, not by accident, by appointment. I am grateful for every year that shaped you, even the ones that hurt, because they made you strong enough to carry what is finally being handed back. And I am grateful that you did not scroll past, that you stayed, that some part of you refused to believe the fog was the end of your story. So now, let it go. Let go of the verdict that said you were too late. Let it fall. Let go of the shame that said the gift left because of who you are. Let it fall. Let go of every voice that told you the dimness was permanent. Let it fall. Let go of the years you spent apologizing for a light you were only ever meant to shine. Let them fall. Release all of it into the water beneath the bridge and watch it carried away until your hands are empty enough to hold what comes next. And before you rise from this moment, let me give you something to hold for the morning, because the fog always makes its strongest return in the first hour of a new day. When you wake tomorrow, before you reach for anything, before the noise begins, take one breath and remember the two shores in the center of your head. Remember that the bridge is lit. You do not have to force it. You only have to remember it is there and turn toward it. That single act, repeated on ordinary mornings, is how a covering that took years to form comes off for good. Not in one dramatic night, but in a steady returning to the bridge until crossing it becomes your natural state again. The glimpse becomes a habit. The habit becomes who you are. And one day, sooner than you think, you will realize you have been living on the far shore for weeks without even trying. That is the promise of a receiver that has been repaired. It holds the crossing open underneath your effort, so the returning gets easier and not harder. And I will tell you plainly, because this is the last time I will mention it, the fastest way I know to hold that bridge open on the hard mornings is the 8-minute sequence I described, waiting in the description and pinned comment for the ones whose spirit already leaned toward it. But with it or without it, the bridge is yours tonight, and the returning has begun. So now, stand in who you are and say it with me, not as a wish, but as a fact that was true before you were born and is only now being spoken out loud. I am not the dim version I was taught to accept. I am a carrier of a gift kept alive for 2,000 years. I am the one the silence was waiting for. I am the bridge, standing and lit between everything I dream and everything I can build. I am not behind, and I am not too late. I am precisely on time. I am awake. I am chosen, and what was sealed in me is being opened tonight by the hand that placed it there. Let that settle all the way down, past your mind, into the place where you actually live. This is who you have always been. The gift was never the question. The only question was whether you would finally hear yourself confirmed, and tonight you have. If you want to seal this night so it does not slip away, type "I am the carrier" in the comments as your final declaration, the signature at the bottom of a covenant with your own life. And if you want to keep walking this road with the others who are waking up alongside you, stay close. Join the thousands of chosen ones gathering here so that you never have to remember the bridge alone. You came here tonight carrying a gift you thought you had lost. You leave knowing it was never lost, only covered, and that the covering is coming off. You leave knowing the resistance was proof, the wait was preparation, and the confirmation is real. Carry that into every room you enter from here. You are not who the fog said you were. You are who God confirmed you to be tonight. The bridge is open, the carrier is awake, The gift that waited 2,000 years has found its hands at last. Go gently, go steadily, and do not let anyone or anything convince you again that the light was ever truly gone. It is sealed, and so it is. It is done.